Okay, this is going to be 12.5. We're going to look at equations of a circle. All right. Um, so this is the general equation of a circle. All right. Um, H and K are the center of the circle. Okay, and X and Y represent any point on that circle. Right. Note that the signs change when we write in H and K, the values. All right. And so here, just a couple quick examples. If the center is at -3, 5, right? That's going to be an x plus 3. So the signs change, and an x minus 5. It's always a plus sign in the middle, okay? And then the radius is 6, so it's actually 36. Okay, so 6 squared. Okay, if you look at the blank notes, or if you look at the note solutions, there's a part that I didn't include here. This is actually the distance formula, something you learned in Algebra 1 and first semester of geometry. Okay, um, if and when you take pre-calculus down the line, you go into detail and more depth of how this comes to be. All right, but here's a couple more examples. If you have a 0 for the h or k, then it's just, x squared or y squared. All right. 3 root 2 squared comes out to 18 because 3 squared is 9, and then the root 2 squared is 2, so 9 times 2 is 18. Right. So you got to know this equation here. Alrighty. So, and then going backwards, right? If you're given the equation, then what's the center and what's the radius? Okay. Center is going to be at -4, -2, sign switch, and the radius is going to be the square root of this value. All right. Since this is just x squared, then your h value is 0. Okay. And then a +4 here. And then also given visually, right? You got to know where the center is, right? It's at 3, -4. And so when you put it into the equation, it's x minus 3 and y plus 4. Don't forget squared. And then don't forget plus sign it in the middle, right? And then you can count the radius, right? The radius is 2, so therefore it ends with a 4 in the equation here. Okay. All right. Find the center and radius of each circle whose equation is given, then draw it. Okay, so you can tell from the equation, right, that the center is at -3, 0. So you put the center at -3, 0. And your radius is 4. And so you just go 4 up, 4 down, 4 left, 4 right. Okay, you can't count 4 diagonally, right? You can't do that, all right? So you can count up, down, left, right, 4, okay? And any radius really. And then after that you draw your circle, okay? Here, when you're going to get into more detail later in pre-calculus, but for now you got to know this also. You cannot have a coefficient for x and y, right? So that's why we divide everything by 3 here. Okay, so this is your equation. Center's at 0, 0, radius of 2, so you go 2 up, 2 down, 2 left, 2 right. There's your circle. All right, so this one, there's a lot involved, right? Your diameter of AB, so these are the endpoints of the diameter, right? Now, if you want to do a little sketch, you can, okay? The center is going to be the halfway point of those endpoints, right? So you have to recall the midpoint formula. Okay, so after you use the midpoint formula, you figure out that the center is at -2, 1, right? That's your HK. Okay, so then you put that in, okay? Now, you need an R value, right? Well, how do we figure out the R value? Okay. Okay, so let me backpedal real quick because we kind of missed the line. All right, so after you get negative 2, 1 as your center, right, then you can write the equation, or at least some of it, or most of it, right? You don't know the r value, okay? So then, in order to figure that out, what you can do is, remember, these points are on the circle, which means you can substitute in either of these points in for x and y, okay? So it looks like we used point A, right? Because this 2 and this negative 5 is represented by right here, right? X and Y, okay? So you can always substitute the points into the equation for x and y, not for h and k, because h and k represents the center of the circle, all right, specifically, all right? And so after that, you solve this for r, okay? Now the thing is here, you don't even need to take the square root because the equation of a circle ends with r squared. So it's just 52 here, all right? So that's how we do that problem. Okay. Again, similar idea here. Okay. If you know the center of the circle and it passes through the point 2, negative 3, right? There it is, 2, negative 3. We're substituting it in for x and y, okay, in order to solve for r squared, because you need that as part of the equation. When it's tangent to x-axis, right, centered at 1, 3, okay, and if it's tangent, remember it touches it, okay, so that means you have to draw it this way, right, and so the radius is going to be 3, okay, so that's why the equation is this equation right here, right. I don't know if we're going to see a problem like this on the quiz, but this is a system of equations, right? Find all points of intersection. That means it's a system, okay? And so you're given the equation of the circle, you're given the equation of the line, all right? And so we can use the substitution here, right? If y equals negative 1/4 x, then you substitute negative 1/4 x in for y. So that's how we get this set up here. Okay. And so you're going to have to do some algebra and some solving skills. It looks like we're going to have to add fractions, okay? And you get x equals plus or minus 4. Don't forget, when you take the square root, there are two possibilities. It's not just 4, but it's also negative 4. So that means since you need to solve for y, you got to substitute in both a 4 and a negative 4, and that's why you have two answers, right? And then it makes sense that there are two answers because if you look visually, the line crosses the circle twice. So you know that there are going to be two answers, okay? Looks like that's it. Yeah, I'm going to make a video, with a couple of the problems from the first two sections, all right? And I might make a video for the review. And so you've got some days, you've got, today, Friday, and the weekend to study for this quiz, 12.1, 12.2, and 12.5 on Monday. And as always, if you have questions, please shoot me an email.